Robert, some of the safety tips from SANParks to cyclists has been don't leave in groups of less than four, try and cycle before 8 or after 8. What are some of the tips you can give to cyclists and users of these trails?
Well, the number one is ride in a group if you can, but we have also seen that a group of 4 or more, we saw an attack against 4 hikers in March in Tokai. So while it's great to ride in larger numbers, sure, that'll make it safer. We found that the suspects, the guys that are attacking people, tend to be in groups of 2 or 3. That's sort of the most that I'm aware of. So yes, ride in a bigger group. Ride at the busiest times, funnily enough, for cyclists and others are in the mornings during the week, because they like to get a ride in before work.
Yeah, sure.
And the same happens after work. So these are your times when most people are using the mountain. So I personally would say, look at those times. The middle of the day is much quieter on the mountain because guys are working. Weekends it's busy throughout the day. So I think inform your family or somebody where you're riding. Let them know how long you intend to ride. Give them your route, so that if you're not back on time, they can sort of raise just ask somebody. The other thing to do is keep those emergency numbers handy. Obviously, in this case on Sunday, the phone got stolen, so there isn't that opportunity to phone. So that's a difficult one to manage. But I think also just be aware of your surroundings, know where the hotspots are. There are websites, there are Facebook and Twitter, social media platforms where this information is shared. So go onto those platforms, update yourself with the information. It's available and it's real-time information. So I think that sense of awareness, and also, your bike's expensive. You've got to ride it, so you can't leave your expensive bike at home because that's what you want to ride. Maybe keep your phone at home. Not really. You need that. So it's a difficult one. We like our gear with us when we cycle. So I think, in all reality, just really be aware of it. Ride with friends. I think that's pretty much the most sensible advice, the most practical advice. And don't think of arming yourself. I mean, there is a lot of talk about carrying weapons. I know from speaking to victims of these attacks, I've asked them, in that attack, do you have any opportunity to use your weapon? And they all say no. And what is most likely to happen, or more likely, is that you will end up facing your own weapon. It is a far too dangerous situation. Carry a whistle. That's a far better tool. It's cheap. You hang it around your neck. Carry a bike bell. Put a bell on your handlebar. Raise the alarm. Blow that whistle. Create a noise. Confuse. But again, on the other hand, don't resist. When you're in an attack, give them what they want. It's replaceable, maybe not immediately, but over time. But your life is more valuable.
Robert, final question. What is the feeling amongst the cycling community after this weekend's incident? I'm sure a lot of you cycle off-road to get away from the dangers of the road. I know I run off-road for similar reasons, and then you're faced with, the worst dangers off the road. I mean, it's quite disheartening.
It's disheartening, it's frustrating, and you're trying to think in your mind, what is the solution? I mean, we all immediately point fingers at SANParks. I must admit, I also get upset or frustrated with them. And you try and ask your question, what can they do more? We live in a society that has a high incidence of crime. That is a reality. We have an open access park that bleeds into a major metropolitan area. We're going to have those incidents. So while we would love for them to go away, we're thinking, let's try and manage that situation. And if our channels of communication, specifically with SANParks, were more open and more immediate, I think we could achieve a lot more. We are encouraging them to tap into those social media platforms, monitor them, because an incident like on Sunday that happened with Mr. Hassan is that that information was shared within minutes on social media. I was speaking to him literally an hour after he was attacked, an hour and a half. SANParks had an awareness of that incident, but had less information than I had. So what we're saying is, work with us. Have your trusted sources where you can act immediately. and gather that information and inform us. They are always, as we saw, he was immediately assisted by 2 cyclists before the rangers were there.
Yeah, sure.
The rangers were within less than a kilometre, but they were guarding the Rhodes Memorial statue. You know, so we say, well, maybe was that a priority? Is that a high priority versus a crime in an area where it's a low priority? You know, you can argue that point as well. So what we're saying is we have ideas. We're not saying they're the best. We have means. They have budgets and procedures. We are far more fluid. We'd like to help, and we've been saying that for years. But I think the attack on Sunday sort of galvanized the city, SAPS, the private groups, groups like Pedal Power, and I think Sandparks are also now realizing that this incident has pushed the focus straight back onto this crime issue. A month or 2 before summer, it's time to act and work together, and I think I'm seeing it happening, which is heartening to see that there is now a strong focus on that, and everybody has to now step up and, you know, and stick to their promise and commitments that were made.